Hello. Good morning, Internet land. Good morning, everybody. We're just going to give it a moment for Instagram to catch up to all the rest of the technology, and then we will be live everywhere and we'll get started. We broadcast DIY Wellness on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the business page, and the profile page. So y'all can experience it from wherever you are. And it looks like Instagram has gone live. Excuse me. Okay. So now we're live everywhere. So yay. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to DIY Wellness. This is the show for people taking personal growth into their own hands. My name is Brian Hogan, a life coach, filmmaker, and clinical therapist, founder of the S.H.I.F.T model. S.H.I.F.T stands for Somatic Holistic Internal Family Transcendence. I'm telling you about that because we're going to talk for 10 minutes about how to navigate in times of darkness and despair. And then for the last 10 minutes, we're going to do a shift practice, which is a combination of parts work and nervous system regulation today via tapping so that we can meet the parts of us connected to this topic. So let's just dive right in. I read an article the other day, and in it, they were using the term collapse aware for people who are collapse aware. And it was like 12 things people who are collapse aware need to do. And a lot of them were like overwhelming things, like move out of the city and start a homestead. Okay, I mean, that is really good advice, truly. But if you live in a city and you can't move out of it to go start a homestead, then it's also useless advice for you in this moment, right? And so, yeah, the article was anxiety provoking to say the least, but it was also interesting to me because the term collapse aware making its way to the mainstream like this says something. It means something. It's a harbinger of things to come. And systems are collapsing around us. There's no denying that, although that is something that we tend to want to do. So that's why I'm talking about this today, because we're going to get into this a little bit, and then we're going to meet the parts of us during the shift practice that know that are collapse aware. And we're going to meet the parts that would rather not be collapse aware, that are trying to avoid any awareness of that at all. And then we're going to meet the parts that do know and want to help in some way. So we're going to meet all of these parts, connect with them, accept the complexity that's in there, and then see how that lightness inside helps us move forward. So how do you prepare for a collapse emotionally and a systems wide collapse? Well, the thing to do is to not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Do not avoid it. Instead, grieve the thing that's collapsing, process it, and then move back into joy and creativity, because it's in those states of joy and creativity. And by joy here, I mean like equanimity and mindfulness and presence and centeredness, like the ability to move through life with flexibility. And then no matter what's happening, even if it's something inherently not joyful, you can be in your place of peaceful centeredness while you deal with it. That's expanding our nervous system window, our capacity, and our tolerance. And so we'll need that. We'll need that joy and that creativity in order to solve the problems and crack the puzzles that are in front of us as a species. And so this idea of being collapse aware and what it means to be collapse aware is sort of a really new thing, or it was new for me, that term. I've been collapse aware for a while and didn't have the name for it, just had the anxiety to match it, but didn't know what I was talking about. I knew, but I didn't know. I didn't have that term. And so what I want to talk about now is all the different ways in which we should validate these feelings around collapse and learn how to navigate through a collapse, because there's a lot of modern science and a lot of mystical wisdom that supports this. Like in polyvagal theory, they say that when uncertainty increases, the nervous system is automatically going to seek out cues for safety or danger and sort of try to navigate around that. So collapse, whether it's a personal collapse or the collapse of society that we're embroiled in right now, it removes predictability, and the nervous system wants predictability, and it wants to bring you back into a place where there is predictability. That's why we cling to systems that are collapsing, because they're familiar, not because they're good, not because they're working, because our nervous system goes, I know that devil, I know it, and I don't want this other one. Even though this other one could be an angel, this new system, whatever, that is going to be built on the other side of our transformation of consciousness that we are now living through. And so the thing is, when the map disappears, your nervous system starts looking around for landmarks. And so those landmarks are the top of an old system that's crumbling underwater. But let me go grab onto that and I won't drown until it's all the way under. And then where are you without the landmarks? But we have internal landmarks, internal compasses. And that's what I want to get to in a moment. So you know, in complexity theory too, they talk about how forests burn, stars explode, economies restructure, and it's like a mechanism by which new order emerges. So collapse isn't always a problem or a negative. It can cause suffering as we go through it. But if we can embrace it, if we can learn from it, if we cannot avoid it so we can navigate through it, then it can become something, it can become the fuel for our reemergence, for something beautiful new to grow, just like the ash and the charcoal becomes fertilizer for the new forest. Viktor Frankl is a great example of this. He survived a literal collapse, and his big observation in logotherapy was that people don't survive because they know what's happening to them. They survive because they maintain an orientation toward deeper meaning. And that's your meaning brain. And it's not certainty, it's meaning that helps us navigate collapse. So, what we want to do is stay focused on the meaning that we want our life to have and the meaning we want to bring into the world. We can't always control what's happening in the society around us, but we control the meaning we make out of it, and we can control the meaning we want to leave behind us. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that's what we're going to do. We're going to become a little more conscious of the parts of us that would so very much rather not be collapse aware, and the parts of us that are but wish they were not, and the parts of us that are and want to embrace it and help in some way and just don't know how. So we're making the darkness conscious right here, right now, today. In Taoism, Lao Tzu repeatedly says when we lose the Tao, we cling to the rules. And when the rules fail, we make more rules. And so when society fractures, the solution is not control, it's returning to direct participation in reality, which is what I'm talking about when I say to befriend our mind, to befriend our emotions, to befriend our nervous system, and to befriend our life experiences. That's participating. And so really the thing here is to understand that when the lights go out, the stars become visible. And so collapse, it does remove reference points. It removes false ones, like all of the city lights and things like that that we cling to, that we think help us navigate. But collapse does not remove all reference points. It does not remove the stars. So even in the darkest times and when the human systems are crumbling all around us, there is still something by which we can navigate. In this metaphor, it's the stars, but the stars are a metaphor for our internal guidance system, which is the body, because the body has the ability to, here's the thing, like the body generates feeling states that guide decision making before conscious reasoning catches up. And so it's like sort of a way of understanding that modern neuroscience suggests that the body is evaluating possibilities, scanning for threat, determining things long before the mind has finished the PowerPoint presentation about what should happen and what we should do next and what, where we're supposed to go from here. So tuning out a little bit of the verbal mind and tuning in a little bit more to the body mind is how we navigate in darkness and despair, because the body can see in the dark. The body doesn't see through eyes. It sees through an intuitive knowing, a felt sense. So, the mind is really excellent at reading maps, but the body is excellent at finding north when you don't have a map at all. And so we navigate the collapse by using thoughts and emotions to uncover the story. Oh, this is what I'm thinking, and this is how I feel about what I'm thinking. And so with those two things, we understand now the story we're living in, which is made of the thoughts, and we start to understand the meaning we're giving the story, because that's how it makes us feel. Those aren't necessarily the truth. That, like, they're not the truth, necessarily the truth in a way of being accurate, but they are the truth in the sense that they are our felt experience in the moment. So it's not like, it doesn't actually matter whether the thoughts themselves have veracity. What matters is that we're believing them and that they're making us feel a certain way. And so the trick isn't to doubt them in the sense of doubting their truth. It's because they could be true or they could not be true. The thing to do is to doubt that they are you, to doubt that the story that you're spinning is also your identity. And then you must feel this way in relation to it. Maybe the story is true. Maybe somebody did betray you, and maybe it does make you feel really shitty and like a little bit less than. But then that's okay. That's to notice that. But that doesn't mean you are less than. And it doesn't mean you're a shitty person for feeling wounded or for being angry. That's the thing to understand. Like, the meaning we make isn't necessarily an accurate read, even on the things that happen to us. And so we can use thoughts and use emotions to uncover the story, which is a form of guidance through doubt, not through follow. And then we can validate the parts that feel true about the story, and we can doubt the rest. And then the last part of this is to tune past the mind and the emotions into the body, into the heart and gut, because the heart and the gut never learned your native tongue. And so the heart and the gut can't lie to you the way your verbal mind can. And the verbal mind can kind of like add meaning that isn't there on top of the story itself, which also might not even be fully accurate. But the body processes millions of bits of information per second, whereas the mind processes about 40. So the body really does have all of this wisdom, and it's not going to speak to you in words, but it's going to give you this yes or no feeling about things. And when we tune into that and navigate from that, that's navigating from a place of being aligned with our values, whether we realize it or not. And when we do that, it leads us toward things going well for us, and it leads us toward the meaning that we want to create in this life. And when we're leaned and aligned with the meaning we want to create, we have more joy, we have more peace, we have more fulfillment, because now we're in line with our destiny. And we create our own. It hasn't been decided for you. It's yours to decide. But once you decide it, then like living in alignment with it is where the joy and the sweet nectar is found. And your destiny can change over and over and over again. So you're never trapped into anything. Okay, so what I want to do now, just for a few minutes here, is a shift practice. And we're going to do a couple rounds just to meet the collapse aware parts that are very likely afraid, isolated, overwhelmed, and anxious. And then we'll meet the parts of us that would rather not know that this is happening. And those are avoidant parts, managing parts, make the best of it parts. And then we'll also meet the parts that want to help in some way, the parts that are longing for a better world, and they know it could be better, and they know they're meant for more, but they don't know how, or they're not sure if they can get past the anxiety or past the avoidance. And then we'll do one final round. So we'll do a fourth round where we can bring some trust to the whole system. So just join me on the tapping on the side of your hand, and remember that tapping is an eyes open and repeat after me practice. So if you're new to this, you do not need to remember anything, and you don't need to know the tapping points. If you know about this and you want to close your eyes, that's totally fine. And for all of you, anytime I say words that don't fully ring the chime of truth for you, that's okay. Then just don't say them, and say instead words that do ring the chime of truth. That's the way to do this, so that we can be moving through our own energy fields, which happens best when we feel safe, when we're in our truth, and when there's a compassionate witness, which is what this practice and this program is all about. Okay, so even though parts of me are afraid, overwhelmed, and anxious because they're aware things are collapsing, both in me and outside of me, right here and right now, I'm safe, and I accept how I feel. Even though part of me would rather not be collapse aware, would rather just make the best of it and keep going just as things are. I'm starting to see that that's not fully possible. These collapses are inevitable, but I will be okay. And I accept how I feel in this moment. Even though there are parts of me that want to help in some way, they don't know how. They're at a loss. There's so many anxious parts, so many overwhelmed parts, isolated parts. It's hard to know how to navigate this, and I accept that complexity right now. Top of the head. There are parts of me that are afraid of what a collapse could mean. Eyebrow, feeling isolated, anxious, side of the eye, under the eye. It's scary to think of things that are collapsing. Under the nose, things in society, chin, things in my life, things for people I care about. And I just accept that this is happening, and I accept my anxiety too. You make sense to me. You're okay to be here. Yeah, so stop tapping now. Put your hands on your heart if that feels aligned, and take a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose and a longer, slower exhale through pursed lips, like this. just tune into the parts that would rather not be collapse aware and say to them, yeah, I get that. Yeah, you make sense to me. You're overwhelmed. You're anxious. You don't want to know. There's too much to know. Yeah, just let the parts know you really do get that. And invite them, if it feels right, to join closer to you, to draw closer. Just letting them know it's okay with you that they're overwhelmed. See if they can take that in. And any response is okay. We're just here accepting our parts. If they're skeptical, if they're ready, it's okay either way. And then just join me on the side of your hand. We're going to do another round here. Even though I have parts that don't want to know, and I have parts that definitely know about collapse, they're skeptical that there's anything constructive we can even do about this. And that's okay. Even though parts of me are skeptical, I accept that complexity too. I accept my parts. Even ones that it seems like maybe have been making things harder for me. Right here in this space, right now, for a few minutes, I accept even you guys. All my parts. You're protective. You're nervous. You want what's best for me too. Yeah. Top of the head. I can trust my system. Eyebrow. Emotions are guidance. Side of the eye. Desire is guidance. Under the eye. Body signals are guidance. Under the nose. And life experience itself is guidance. I have a willingness to be more in tune. Collarbone. I'm curious to learn how and to experiment. Under the arm. And I am willing to notice the guidance in my circumstances, in what unfolds in my life. Okay, stop tapping and take a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose there, and a long, slow exhale through pursed lips. And just connect with your parts now. Noticing the parts that are afraid, that are aware of the collapse, the parts that would really rather not know, and the parts that want to help in some way. Invite them all in to be near you, to notice you. They don't have to make eye contact, and you don't have to force anything. And just picture yourself there in the center of them, and then allow yourself to glow with a bright golden light. And the light emanates out and touches and warms your parts just a little, just as much as they're comfortable with. And any parts that are skeptical or hesitant, they're welcome to stay on the edge and just feel a little bit of this warmth. Whatever they can trust. And if there's parts that love this, they can dive right in, come right near you and feel it fully. And that's okay too. Just as you're here, connecting to your parts in whatever way feels right for them, say to them, I've got you. Anyone who's been going through what you've been through would feel this way. I've got you. And then just allow your parts to tuck away wherever they feel safe in your system. Knowing that even though we've brought more awareness to the collapse, we've also brought more awareness to how your parts operate, who they are in there, and what they might need from you. And let them know that you'll continue checking on them even after this show today. And see how they respond. Finally, if what you heard resonates, then please share this video with those you know who might appreciate the message. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave those down below and I will engage with you, because remember that DIY wellness means to do it yourself, but that does not mean you have to do it all by yourself. I will be here every Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until next week, keep taking personal growth into your own hands. Much love, everybody. I trust you, humanity. Bye.